It's no secret the left is looking into cash in on the Wall Street protests taking place across the country. But are some of these demonstrators actually themselves being paid to protest? Investigative journalist Michelle Fields attended a rally in Washington, D.C. yesterday and spoke to a group of protesters from the D.C. Tenants Advocacy Coalition. Take a listen.
The Latinos in particular are being victimized by the economy. They're suffering more layoffs. And we are fighting big banks and Wall Street in particular.
Are you paying them?
Some of them are volunteers. Some of them aren't. I can't identify them. I'm not going to get into an identification game.
Oh, no wonder he doesn't want to get into an identification game. Now here is the reporter who got that story, Michelle Fields. Michelle, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch. You always seem to be getting these great stories, Michelle. First Matt Damon and now this character. How did you get the idea that these people were being paid?
Well, when I spoke to them, they couldn't articulate why they were there protesting. And then they told me to speak to the organizer, who they referred to as their boss. So I immediately went to go question this boss and ask them, and he admitted to me that he's paying these people.
And the people that he was paying to demonstrate, what are they demonstrating for? What are they demanding from the government? What relief are they seeking?
Well, they're advocating for rent control. That was their main issue.
All right. When you were down there, did you have an opportunity to walk around and talk with a lot of people?
Yeah, and what's interesting, I can't really speak about the New York protests, but what's interesting about the D.C. protests is that it's very libertarian. Everyone that I spoke to said that they're not going to vote for Obama, that they're actually going to be voting for Ron Paul, even though that they may not agree with everything that he says. They feel like Ron Paul is the person for them. So it's sad that these liberal groups are sort of hijacking this movement.
Well, we, as you know, sent some of our producers into the rallies that have been held not far from where we are in New York City, who found the same thing. In fact, I've argued on other shows here at Fox that there is some common sentiment there. It seems to be common sentiment that the government shouldn't be printing cash and that the Fed should be audited or abolished. Did you experience that sentiment amongst young people at these rallies that you attended and filmed in D.C., Michelle?
Yeah, many of them had signs that said "End the Fed." All of them were big supporters of Ron Paul, and they are just tired of this crony capitalism that exists in our country. And they're just upset that these liberal groups are trying to take over this message and turn it into the left's Tea Party, when really this is just about anti-crony capitalism, and it's very libertarian.
Does that message resonate with the people on Capitol Hill, or are they gone on a Friday or not listening anyway?
It seems like they're not listening, to be honest, but these protests are going on throughout the country, so hopefully this anti-crony capitalism message will resonate. Got
it. Michelle Fields, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Come back the next time you have one of these dynamite tapes.
Thank you.
Obamacare is barreling down on our economy, but one bill in Congress would freeze this boulder in its tracks before we all get flattened by it. My freedom fighters are on the case, and they're here next.